Futures and options on futures trading involve substantial risk and is not a suitable investment for all types of investors. Past results are not necessarily indicative of future results. When I use the word I in this video, it refers to what I teach in my charting course or what I author in my twice daily oral and written updates. Prices shown on charts and quote boards are in real time and take into account all known activity up to this point in time. And if you'd like to read more of this disclaimer, simply hit the pause key on your video player. Good weekend. Ira Epstein with your metals market update for this weekend of Friday, the 21st of July 2017. We're getting on to 2:25 in the afternoon. I said July 20th, I think, in the agriculture update. I'm sorry, I get confused. A good week for the gold market. It got back to key moving averages. That's the important thing. You know, the interesting part was I was on Bloomberg Wednesday. And Bonnie Quinn was questioning me, and she was asking me, what did I think of the market? And I'm going, you know, I think we're caught between 12.05 in the gold and 12.95. And I wouldn't be surprised, and the market was down from there at that point. I said, I'm just looking for the market to get back to some key moving averages, these sideways numbers, if you will, in the 1250s. And I think the game will unfold from there. But I wouldn't be surprised if we just end the summer not exploding nor declining all that much. And I haven't changed my opinion on that right now. The other important thing, you're entering a seasonal to the upside. Now, what are seasonals? Seasonals are events that happen for a number of reasons. They're a lot easier to understand in grain because you plant the grain, the weather gets good, it gets bad, you don't know what's going to happen, you get past that, the harvest begins, is the crop going to look good, bad, what? And then, of course, the pressure of taking the grain to the elevator, that puts prices down unless there's not enough crop and the price goes up. So you get seasonal pressures back and forth. Well, the gold starts now, too. You know, I hope you don't think that all the gold being bought for Christmas is done just before Christmas. Remember, you've got to get the jewelers using it. You have different holidays through the year. Merchants stock up at certain times. There's different parts. And on July 24th, you typically begin, according to the Moore Research Institute, a period where you get a pickup in general gold prices on a seasonal basis. That doesn't mean prices go up every single year. I'm giving you the idea of what they do. When you and I take a look at the monthly chart of gold, what got me excited is we fell apart on it, got down to 12.14, and I know I wrote a gold report and people were saying, oh boy, you don't look right. And I said, give it some time to unfold. It's a monthly chart. You're flat in momentum, and you've pulled right back to that 18-week moving average of closes. So far for the high this week, we're at 1255.90. The last quote's 1254.60. We're right there for all purposes. When we look at a weekly area chart of closes, you'd been in a down thrust, and you still are. I appreciate that the market's gone from 1209 to 1254, but you haven't taken out this area yet. That's going to be the key area to convince me that it's anything but a bounce in a market that still had a down thrust. When we just look at a weekly bar, this is why I, on Bloomberg, made my statement. I said, you know, we seem to be caught between here, 1295, and the 1205 level. I'll stay with that right now. I don't see it coming out of it one way or the other. And as you can see, the high so far, 1295.20, below 1204. So that's where I got my numbers. Where's the moving averages? Well, if you look at the 18-week moving average of closes, that number's 1253. You're basically right there now. What other number did you hit over the past 3 weeks on the break? You hit the 100-week moving average of closes, which in retrospect did hold the market. Now, have we started an uptrend? No. Have we started a downtrend? No. You have a pattern of a lower low and a higher high. You don't have a trend. When we take a look at Bollinger Bands, they are going sideways. You came down and hit the lower bands, you held them. You went up here, hit the upper bands, or got very close to it. Might have hit it. We can take a look and get an idea right here. 1295, yeah, you hit it. And the market fell right back to the lower band after that, and now it's back up. So I'm going to still say, this is coiling action. Think of this as a pipe, and prices are just spinning around now in it. It's going to break out one way or the other,
often it happens as the bands narrow in even further than they are right now. So I'm seeing right at this point we're starting to drop down on the bands, and I wouldn't be surprised that when we get to the beginning of the trade on Sunday night that they narrow in a little bit more. Momentum had been down, and I think you'd agree. It's trying to pop to the upside. Don't know if it'll succeed or not. When I take a look at the silver weekly chart, unlike the gold, it still has a pattern of lower highs, lower lows, has not gotten over the last rally high of 1686 to negate that pattern, hasn't been able to get up to the 100-week average of close or the 18. It is still a weaker chart. In the copper, similar to the gold, this market's caught in this sideways action back and forth. The difference is strong momentum to the upside, whereas gold's just starting its momentum. It's got the uptrend that gold did not have, and it's knocking on the door of the upper Bollinger Band, which often stops the markets. Now, in order to get a market to eventually trend, it's got to come out of that sideways action. So while 95% of the time you trade within that band, once there's a piece of news to break it out to the downside or upside, it's going to get over that band for a week, 2 weeks. It's natural. I'm waiting to see if this is the time it does it or not. Don't know. For the week, you're up about 3 cents. In the platinum market, you have a higher high, lower low. Again, no trend. Market hit the lower Bollinger Band, got its footing, bouncing back up. Expect resistance back at the 18-week moving average at 940.50, and momentum is still pointing up. Again, still not trending one way or the other. The palladium market has a reverse pattern. Lower highs, lower lows, and momentum pointing down. What negates this whole thing is it's still over the 18-week average, so you have no trend to trade from there. In essence, the copper's the strongest of the charts. Gold has gotten its legs back under it. Silver's yet to prove it can get away from the overall downtrend it's in. And palladium and platinum are still fighting each other in different directions. In the dollar index, you have a bear market at work. It's that simple. This is not going to be bearish. This is it. Now, this is also good to take a look at. Here is your sideways action in your Bollinger Band. Remember what I told you. At some point, it breaks out of it. So here's the market challenging the lows. It gets under it, keeps hitting it and pushing it down. This is very necessary because now I start seeing this band moving up there and this one down here. The momentum to the downside oversold, but now you're under a key 100-day average of closes and you're pushing momentum down further. Notice that the bands are going down. Very common. You move prices back to the right-hand side of the band, you're still dropping. You have what I call the embedded reading. Numbers are locked in under 20 going sideways, and this is all one thing. It's all bearish at this point in time. So that's how it happens in the real world. Got it? So I look at all this, and what do I think? Well, I think metals are getting a bid off the weak dollar. There's not a lot of news one way or the other moving stocks or anything else today. I can accept and live with that. We're seeing weaker energy prices, which aren't very good, but you're going into an OPEC meeting that starts this weekend, and we'll find out if anything positive can come out of it. We had a $5 rally off the lows. I think the smart money's getting out. They'll wait and see what it does, and they'll decide after the meeting what to do. It's hard to imagine OPEC's going to come out with a bearish statement, but somebody's doing selling in front of it. I want to remind you about a technique I use, my brokers use, and you might want to use. You know, we do have clients that don't want to carry positions overnight. They want to day trade. We have traders that want to be what they call swing traders. How do you become a swing trader? Well, one of the ways to look into this is a technique called pivot points. I did not develop it, but I certainly have watched it, and it's been taught to me by the pros upon pros upon pros over my 4.5 decades of trading. And you take the previous day's high and low, and then you apply that to charts that some people use 5-minute and 15-minute bar charts. And you're going to get a series of lines that are horizontal on the chart. You get a neutral point. You're going to get a couple of sell points and a couple of buy points. We teach you how to work with those buy and sell points, trying to go the opposite of what the market's doing. Selling at the highs, coming back to the midpoints. Buying at the lows, getting back to the midpoint. That's why it's called pivot points. I've created 2 videos for you. One video I do in PowerPoint, so you get to see the formula, understand it. I make you do it yourself so you get to see it. Then I plot it on a PowerPoint chart. The very next video, I'll take you to real charts. And we do this from there. And I'm going to create a third video where I'm going to add slow stochastics to this, but let me first get this in your hands. How do you get this? Because it's completely free, and it's the first of a series I'm going to put together through the fall on different techniques. You get it by calling us 866-973-2077. You can go to our website, www.iraepstein.com. You can click up here if you're watching me on YouTube. You'll see the icon. The forms will appear there. Or underneath us on many websites it says, click here for Ira's free offers. Do so. We'll get it out to you. I'm Ira Epstein. You have a great weekend. I'll see you all Monday.